right, everybody, welcome back. Today we're diving into something really interesting.
Yeah, definitely.
All this buzz about Nvidia, AI investments, and, of course, the elephant in the room, DeepSeek.
Yeah, DeepSeek's kind of shaking things up.
And I know a lot of you are wondering what to make of it all. So to get to the bottom of this, we've got a really interesting mix of headlines and articles.
Yeah, it should be a fun one.
Definitely. So first up, we have this headline, Is Nvidia in Deep Trouble?
Ooh, yeah, that's a scary one.
It is a little bit dramatic, don't you think?
I mean, markets can be volatile,
True.
especially in tech. Things move really fast.
Yeah, you're not kidding.
But I think all this talk about Nvidia being in trouble is a bit of an overreaction.
Okay, so you're not hitting the panic button just yet.
Not quite. I think we need to look at this DeepSeek thing a little closer.
Right, because that seems to be the cause of all this.
Yeah, they came out with this new AI model that's supposedly cheaper and more efficient.
And so everyone's freaking out, thinking Nvidia's going to get left in the dust.
Exactly. But there's another article here, Nvidia. This chart shows why DeepSeek doesn't concern me. That paints a different picture.
Oh, really?
Yeah, this author argues that Nvidia is still in a really strong position.
They still have a lot going for them.
Exactly. They have the technology, the market share.
This author actually gives them a hold rating,
Yeah.
which, if I'm understanding this right, that means they're not recommending anyone sell their Nvidia stock, right?
Right. So, it's not all doom and gloom, but it is smart to be cautious.
Yeah, no kidding. The author also mentions using put options.
Yeah, put options.
And I got to be honest, I'm not really sure what that is.
So put options are basically like insurance for your stocks.
Oh, okay.
If the stock price drops below a certain point, your put option kicks in and limits your losses.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, so even if you're optimistic about a company.
Still got to protect yourself.
Right, especially in a volatile market like this.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. But let's move on to some of the other players in the AI space. This article, forget DeepSeek, up to 13% dividend yields from AI investments really caught my eye.
Oh, yeah, dividends.
Yeah, dividends.
Dividends are awesome.
I mean, who doesn't love a little extra cash flow, right?
Exactly. And this article is highlighting that even if Nvidia does struggle, there are plenty of other companies in the AI sector that are offering some pretty impressive dividend yields.
So it's like, don't put all your eggs in one basket?
Right. Diversification is key, especially in a sector as dynamic as AI.
Yeah, that's really smart advice. And speaking of diversification, I noticed that top ETFs across asset classes mentions a surge in ETF inflows.
Oh, yeah, ETFs.
Yeah, ETFs. I always forget what that stands for.
Exchange-traded funds.
There you go.
And they're basically baskets of stocks that track a specific index or sector.
So, like, you can invest in an AI ETF, and you're essentially investing in a bunch of different AI companies all at once.
Exactly. And the surge in ETF inflows suggests that investors are really bullish on the long-term potential of AI, even with all this DeepSeek drama.
Oh, interesting.
It's a sign of confidence in the sector as a whole.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so we've talked about Nvidia, DeepSeek, dividends, ETFs.
A lot to unpack.
There is. But there's one more article here that I'm a little confused about. Supermicrocomputer.
Oh, right. Yeah.
It seems kind of random.
It's not as random as it seems.
Okay.
So Supermicrocomputer is a major supplier of hardware for data centers.
Data centers. And those are important for AI because
AI requires massive amounts of computing power.
Oh, right. Of course. I should have known that.
And guess what? Supermicrocomputer is also affected by this Nasdaq compliance deadline that we were talking about earlier.
The same one that's impacting Nvidia.
The one and only.
Okay, so remind me again, what does this deadline have to do with investing?
Yeah. So this deadline is forcing some funds to sell off shares of companies that aren't meeting certain requirements. And that's creating downward pressure on the stock prices of companies like Nvidia and Supermicrocomputer.
So it's kind of like an artificial sell-off.
Yeah, you could say that. And it's also generating a lot of short interest.
Short interest? That sounds ominous.
It basically means that some investors are betting that the prices of these stocks are going to drop even further.
Oh, wow. So is this compliance deadline creating a buying opportunity?
Potentially. If the selling pressure is artificial and not based on the actual performance of the companies, their stock prices could rebound once the deadline passes.
Oh, that's really interesting. It's like a chance to buy low.
Yeah, but it's definitely a risky move.
High risk, high reward.
Exactly.
All right, so we've covered a lot of ground here.
Yeah.
But before we wrap up, there's one more thing I wanted to mention. This Grant Cardone on Investing Experts podcast.
Oh, yeah. Grant Cardone.
Yeah. Have you ever listened to his stuff?
I have, yeah.
I haven't, but he seems to have some pretty strong opinions about investing.
Oh, yeah, he definitely does.
So I was thinking, Maybe that podcast could be a good resource for listeners who want to dive deeper into some of the stuff we've talked about today.
Definitely. Yeah.
Like ETFs, for example.
Yeah, he's big on ETFs.
Okay, so just to recap everything we've talked about today, it seems like the AI landscape is pretty wild right now.
That's exciting.
Yeah, it is exciting. But it's also a little bit scary.
A little bit.
DeepSeek is definitely shaking things up, but that doesn't necessarily mean Nvidia's is doomed. And this Nasdaq compliance deadline is creating some interesting opportunities.
Definitely a lot to keep an eye on.
Absolutely. But I think the biggest takeaway here is that the AI sector is only going to get bigger and more important in the years to come.
Yeah, no doubt about that.
So if you're looking for investment opportunities, AI is definitely worth considering. But as with any investment, do your research, be strategic, and remember that volatility is part of the game.
Couldn't have said it better myself. I think this DeepSeek thing is actually going to end up accelerating AI adoption.
Oh, really? How so?
Well, if DeepSeek can deliver on their promises of cheaper and more efficient AI, that's going to make it accessible to a whole lot more businesses.
Oh, wow. I hadn't thought about that.
So even companies that aren't directly involved in AI, they're going to start incorporating it into their operations.
Yeah, that's true, like AI-powered marketing or AI-powered customer service.
Exactly. So this could actually be a really good thing for the entire AI sector, not just for companies like Nvidia and DeepSeek.
Wow. That's a really interesting thought. And it just goes to show there's always something new and exciting happening in the world of AI.
Always.
Thanks for joining me today. It's been a really great discussion.
Me too.
And for all of you listening out there, make sure you stay tuned for our next deep dive.
See you next time.
See ya.